Hey, whether you are brand new to network marketing, have consistently been working but without getting any sales and have plateaued, or you feel like, I wish I had a different upline, this episode is for you. So join me inside the Spiral Up podcast where I'm going to talk to you about my journey in the past with network marketing and something very special that I have to help you get back on track. So I will see you inside of this episode. Welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lachelle Wieme, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral up. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lachelle Wieme, and I want to talk to you a little bit about my start in business today. You see, I have a very special place in my heart for network marketing. In fact, I just got back from speaking on stage at a network marketing company in Utah, and it was amazing because my heart is so right there with the people who were listening in that audience. And it's like that experience all those years ago is really what changed my entire life. And I have such a huge spot in my heart for people in network marketing because it becomes the vehicle for so many people to show them what's possible in life. And for me, that was what really created what I call the and life, that I can be both challenged and fulfilled and make a difference and to be a more present mom and wife. And so network marketing is definitely a place that I feel like I got started in business, and it's what made the most massive transformation for me. It's kind of like that personal development with the paycheck that they talk about. So I want to tell you a little bit about my history with things, and then I want to tell you about some really great tips that I have if you've been plateauing in your business, if you're like, I just don't have a great support system and I really want somebody to show me what to do, or maybe you're just sucked into all of the hustle, like you've been doing all the damn things and you're feeling like you're not getting where you want to go. I want this episode to be for you. All right. So first off, I'm just going to say that my very first business I started was a photography business, and that one kind of happened by accident. I started taking pictures of my son and really found that as I posted them online, people would come up to me and they're like, "Hey, would you be willing to take pictures of my kid or my family?" And it just allowed for the small income that I was making from that to pay for new equipment. But at the end of the day, I really was not business savvy. I did not have the confidence to charge what should have been charging. And I really just kind of let it fade into the nothingness when I started back and got my doctorate degree. And it was when I was in my last semester of my doctorate program and had the absolute last thing on my mind was to start a business, is when God was like, "This is what I have for you." Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. So here I was, 2016. I was living my dream life, right? So I had my job as a nurse anesthetist. I was doing that part-time in the operating room. The other half the time I was a professor for our doctor of nurse anesthesia program, the program that I had wanted to teach for my entire career. So like living my best life, right? I also had just a few months left of my own last degree, my doctorate degree, and I was taking twice the credit load just so I could get done. I was so sick of it, right? And at the time, I had my husband, Andy, and then I had a son who was, I think, 7 at the time, and my daughter would have been 3. And so I was busy, and this was the fall, if I recall. And so my husband was, gearing back to starting school again as a teacher, and basketball season right around the corner. So like I had no business starting a business. But what happened with me was I started to recognize that I wanted the products, and I'm cheap and I didn't want to spend the money on myself. And so I really started to look into what it would look like for me to be a distributor. Now, the thing is that I am definitely not a born salesperson. I was super shy, super awkward, didn't, have a social media following, didn't know what the heck I was doing. but I do have a gift for finding ways to make money. And I think that this is one of those things where now I look at my life, and while network marketing is not my primary mode of income, I do have several companies that I distribute for, just because if I'm already using the products and I'm going to talk about them, I might as well getting paid for it. And so really looking at it now as like a business savviness is just part of my portfolio. And I think that when somebody asked me recently how many streams of income I have, I think I have like 11 or 12. And a few of them being something that's associated with affiliate or network marketing as a background income stream, right? But when I said yes to this company, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And it wasn't anything that I saw a big vision for right away, but I was coachable. And because I didn't know what the heck I was doing, the person that signed me up, she's like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing either, but I was told to watch or listen to, I guess they were called back in the day. We had to dial in a specific number with a code, and we would listen to these calls on Wednesdays and Sundays. And essentially, they were just different people from the company that were sharing their story, how they got started, maybe a tip or trick of what's working these days. And it was really just meant to support the field. And even though I was busy, I would find the way to listen to those replays in the car on my way to and from work. And I found that I was being inspired more and more and more, subconsciously and consciously, honestly, because what I was finding is that it didn't matter who the person was. It didn't matter how successful they were. What I was noticing was that there wasn't a general theme aside from the fact that they saw a vision and they tried and didn't give up. These were men, they were women, they were in their 60s, they were in their 20s, they were educated, they were uneducated. I heard from scientists and doctors and lawyers and stay-at-home moms and people who didn't have any background in sales or marketing or anything like that. It was such a wide gamut of people that I heard from. And that inspired me, because I'm like, gosh, there is no defining thread with these people other than that they saw the vision and that they didn't give up. And I'm like, okay, well, if they can do it, so can I. And I started to hear over and over again where they would say that if you can devote 3 to 5 years and really give your all, you can create a 40-year career in that period of time, and your life will be different. And I saw the vision. And I also at the time was really struggling with some things that were happening and shifting in healthcare, because healthcare had become more of a business and less of a like human interaction, it felt like. And there were some things going on in the operating room where, as an anesthesia provider, I loved the fact that I got to see my patients before surgery, and I got to talk to them. I got to help them understand that I was going to take care of them and that they could trust me in like 3 minutes or less. And it was the most satisfying part of my day. And then they took it away. And I literally would come back from the recovery room, and my next patient was on an operating bed, and I had enough time to say hello and then off to sleep again. And so I just felt like that part of me was missing. And this could be a way for me to really give the customer service that I had never got to give in the hospital. And it was within my control. I also, if you guys can see me on the YouTube channel, I am surrounded by books, and I have several shelves that are dedicated to leadership. Love leadership. But what I was finding is that it was one of those things where, unless I had the right title or the right initials behind my name, I really couldn't execute the things that I was learning. I was just a cog in the wheel, essentially, sometimes. And I wanted to be able to execute the things I was learning from John Maxwell and Dave Ramsey and Seth Godin and all these like cool people that I was just starting to embark on this whole personal development journey. And so it was like, gosh, this is a way for me to be a leader. This is a way for me to execute the things that I'm learning and to really pour into people and to give myself this impact that I wasn't able to get at work. And I could help other people do the same. And it was amazing. And I grew really quickly. So within the first, I think, 10 months, I got to the top 2% earner of that company. And things were clicking, right? But I will say that I also experienced a lot of frustration. I felt like I grew really fast. I think I enrolled like 6 people in a matter of a couple of weeks. And I felt like I was failing them as far as onboarding them. I was overwhelmed. Like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do right by them? And I was finding that I was so caught up in my vision that it's like in my mind, if 2 things will work, then I'm going to do 4 or 6 to get them there faster. And I would be pouring into all of these different trainings that people were putting out. And instead of just like discerning from God, like which things that I should be focusing on, which is what I teach now, I was like, okay, it's like a buffet, and I'm just gonna take that and that and that and that and that. And everything that they were teaching, I was doing, but none of it was working. And I started to plateau, and I started to get frustrated, and I started to feel like I was hustling for the sake of hustling. My energy shifted. I think that people on my team probably felt like I was taking this so seriously because my vision and my mission and my dream was so big that I'm like, all right, let's go. I want to do this. I want to do this. And they're like, Lachelle, you don't seem like you're having fun anymore. Right. And I didn't know that at the time, but they were right. It's like I could see the vision. I could see that short-term sacrifice for long-term gain, but it was at the expense of some of my friendships, is at the expense of my marriage sometimes. Like my husband is like, I don't get it, Michelle. Like at one point before you joined faculty, like you were working 3 12-hour shifts. You were home all the time. You weren't on your phone all the time. Like I want that version of you back. I'm like, no way, man. Like this is my life. Like this is what I want to do. And it was like I felt this really tough pull between what I knew was possible because I was listening to all of these people and what they were accomplishing. One of my very good friends, one of my mentors, was making $150,000 a month in this company at one point, and was able to give back massively. I mean, she ended up buying an amateur basketball team in the Nashville area just so that she could support these young men that would otherwise go out to, perform things in crime. And so I'm like, gosh, I could see that again. You can't have a mission without a margin. And I could see the good that in the impact that she was making. I'm like, I want that. And I just dove into the hustle for the sake of hustling. And I lost my joy in there. And eventually it was just one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I also had a couple of times where people would come to me in their hearts and they would pour their dreams to me. And there's one incident I can tell you about. I think I wrote about it in my book because it was such a profound experience for me, that this woman came to me and she poured her heart into me and all the things that she wanted to accomplish with this business. And I loved her dream. It was so vivid. And the very first time that she posted anything on social media, her brother made fun of her and left some weird comment, and she never posted again. She completely abandoned the dream. She abandoned the business. And I found that it was really devastating for me to watch how people can come with their dreams and then they give up so easily, and I can't want it more than they do. And so what happens is when I want it more than they do, then I find myself getting in desperation, and I found myself pushing, and instead of inviting and pulling people in and letting myself be magnetic, I found myself forcing and pushing, and that felt icky too. And so gosh, this is like really vulnerable. I'm kind of airing all my mistakes, right? Um but it was just it was still a time in my life where I felt like I was really making a bigger difference than I was making at the hospital. And I loved it. And I loved the extra income that I was bringing in for my family. Another thing that I found over time was I allowed my lack of understanding on codependency and servant leadership to impact myself. So as a servant leader, I felt like I needed to be the one that does all the things. I need to be the one that creates all the trainings and creates the onboarding process and creates all the resources and creates, how to teach people how to do social media and all this stuff. And what I was doing was I was taking all that in because subconsciously I felt like I needed to be needed, and I needed to be the one that was the supporter. And really what I did was I created a codependent experience to the people that are on my team because they knew that I was going to do it. So none of them wanted to step up. And I allowed for this enablement, and I allowed for essentially robbing people of stepping up and showing themselves what they're capable of. And I never wanted to bother people or ask things of people because my own lack of confidence and my own insecurity and my subconscious beliefs that I'm a bother were preventing me from asking for help as well. And so if you can see this, I had this underlying belief that I was not enough, or that I needed to be valued, or that I was a bother, that were really pushing me towards an imbalance in what I was doing and what I was expecting of others. And so it burned me out. And I would get frustrated and I would get resentful consciously and subconsciously, because people weren't pulling their weight or people weren't offering to help or blah, 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 blah. But really, it was me that was blocking all of that stuff. And so I've been on this really cool journey of allowing my experience with network marketing to not only teach me what's possible as far as the and life, being the mom that I could be challenged and fulfilled and doing a really big thing for the world and feeling like I'm making an impact, and being a more present mom and wife. And it allowed for me to understand that that was possible. But it also was the biggest teacher of the things that I knew that I needed to heal. Because once I started to heal those things, then I started to become more successful and be able to take on the things that I'm doing now. And so I think that the other thing that I learned in my experience with all of the years that I had in this industry was that a lot of people also will find themselves stuck in what I call the blame cycle. And I myself was stuck there too, because it's easy to blame things outside of yourself. The company doesn't give me as much as I need, or the resources that I need, or they're not doing a good job, providing us with videos, or my upline is making money off of me and it's not fair because she's not doing anything, and blah, 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 blah. And I think that when I look at my experience, there were lots of different examples where I watched people essentially act out the law of reciprocity, meaning that when we reap what we sow. And I saw people both hoarding information and being very be territorial and allowing scarcity to impact their sharing of knowledge and help. And then I saw the opposite, where I saw people that would reach down regardless of if somebody was on their payroll. So for example, the woman that I mentioned that had, the $150,000 months, I wasn't on her pay plan, but she knew that investing in me is going to benefit the whole. She knew that the law of sowing and reaping, the law of reciprocity, she's going to be blessed in some way, shape, or form from that. And in network marketing, it's not uncommon for people to quit. And so lines get compressed. And eventually I might have been on her downline and getting paid off of me, just because that's the nature of the beast. And so I've seen a lot of different things that people can use as excuses and why they're not successful. And so, well, number one, I think that if I had to look at what I'm doing now and how I'm teaching people, I think that my heart and my methodology behind what I'm doing for business owners really stemmed from my experience in network marketing and the things that I learned from watching people give in to their butts, their excuses, their fears, their limiting beliefs, and hold themselves back from the life that God has from them. Is really the inspiration behind everything that I do now, including the book that I wrote, Get Out of God's Way. It's really just like seeing so many people give up on their dreams and seeing the things that we allow get in our way. And that was really what inspired the 7 foundations of success that I have built into my Spiral Up program. And I'll just tell you what those are right now. So number 1 is the power of choice. So when we acknowledge that we always have a choice, that it doesn't matter who our upline is. It doesn't matter if nobody in our small town is buying or that everybody says it's expensive. There is always a way if you choose to it. So you can either choose to allow yourself to give into your circumstances and blame, or you can choose to rise above them and find a solution and get the result that you want. And so that is the very first foundational lesson that I teach people inside my program. And I really feel like that was birthed from my network marketing experience. The second one is the confidence piece. If we allow for our limiting beliefs, our lack of confidence, our stinking thinking that we have going on in our background, if we allow our programming to create these what's the word I'm looking for? Codependent relationships, these not feeling worthy of spending the time and money on ourselves, the things that hold us back, we're going to continue to be in those cycles. And so once we can really establish that confidence, then all of a sudden the decisions that we make are going to be coming from an empowered place instead of a disempowered place, and everything will shift from there. The other C that I have in my foundations is the clarity piece. So once you know how to ask God and have Him guide you, and know that it doesn't have to be all the things that you learn, but it's the few choice things that He tells you what to do is going to be more fruitful than all the things that you're doing on your own, is going to keep you out of the hustle for the sake of hustling. And so it allows you to have confidence in your purpose and to have confidence in who it is that you're serving and how you serve them. It's having confidence in how you talk to people. It's having that confidence and clarity around what you should do and how you should do it. And everything starts to shift there too, because you come from a place of this calmness, this clear, discerning, beautiful place that allows you to make decisions from an empowered place. Now, let's see, that's 3. I have the next C is the connectedness one, is really understanding the power of universal law and manifestation principles so that you can actually get further along faster, because so many people hit their head and they don't get success. And so then they decide to quit. And again, that becomes a but. Another C is courage. So once you can overcome your fears of getting through the things that have held you back up to this point, it's amazing what can happen. It doesn't matter what your fear is. It can be a fear of being seen on social media. It can be a fear of talking to people about your product. It can be a fear of talking to a friend or family about what you do. It doesn't matter what the fear is, but if you can understand the anatomy of fear, you can get over any fear. And that's really empowering. The other C that we have is consistency. So many times people will put their efforts into something and it completely fizzles out. Oh, I'm going to start to keep track of all my leads, and that lasts for like a day. I'm going to post consistently on social media, and that lasts for a week. I am going to, do my 3 follow-ups a day, and that doesn't happen, right? And so it's really those consistent actions over time that are going to make the difference. But if you aren't tackling the right strategy for you and learning how to build success habits in ways that are designed uniquely for you, you're going to fall flat. And so these are some of the things that I help people do. And then the last one is conquer. It's the resiliency planning. It's the allowing ourselves to stay in high vibes even when stuff goes wrong. And all of these things were really birthed from my experience by watching my own self and the things that I struggled with, both when I was successful and when I was hitting my plateau, that allowed for me to have these insights. But also all of the people that I led and all of the coaching clients that I've had up to this point have taught me that there are 7 key things that once we address them, all of a sudden everything else starts to fall in place. So I want you to know that as a former researcher, it is my gifting to be able to see themes. And I kept seeing themes of what was holding me back and what was holding other people back. And it's when we recognize that it doesn't have to be complicated, that there are just a couple little tweaks that need to be made, that all of a sudden you get back into flow, that things can happen really fast. And that's so much fun. So I wanted to share with you just a little bit about my ups and downs in the industry. I feel like it is literally one of the best kept secrets. If you've never done it, like, I'm going to say that passive income that you can get from that is so profound. It's the personal development with a paycheck. You can do it, as part-time or as full-time as you want to. And that was one of my downsides too. I felt like because I was so focused on my goals that I was like, I was constantly like in overdrive, like working on my lunch breaks, working in the car on the way to and from work, working in the evenings, missing families, for a Zoom, like that kind of crap. That is not okay. And that's not how I function now. And I help people to get success without the hustle and the grinding and the scarcity, and to get back into flow and understand that we don't have to have a time scarcity or a money scarcity issue that's driving our decisions. And so I've been there. I know how hard that can be. I mean, it impacted my recruiting, right? So how can I sell somebody on time freedom when I have less? Like, it literally, those blocks were holding me back. And so what I've decided to do, because I'm inspired by so many people, is that it didn't matter if somebody had been in the business for a long time and they just were plateauing and they were sick of hustling for the sake of hustling and not getting anywhere. I had conversations with that, like, I just don't have a good support with my upline. I want this to be successful. I see the vision in this. I love this company. but I don't know how to get there. I've seen people where they're like, I am successful, but I just can't keep doing it with this 1,000-mile-an-hour pace that I'm at. And I want to know that I can still be successful and not lose traction if I start to pull back a little bit. I want to do it with more balance and ease and flow and peace and joy, right? And so all of these conversations I've been having led me to create something very, very special that I'm going to be offering September 24th. So that's going to be our very first session. I'm doing a 30-day business reset specifically for network marketers. Okay. And what we're going to do is we are going to give you guys a workbook and some small short videos that you'll have access to with some homework and accountability. And then we meet on Wednesday afternoon for live coaching, live Q&A. I will give you feedback. We will go over any sticky points that you have. And I really want to allow for you to see massive forward momentum in doing the right things at the right time and knowing that you're supported along the way, that it doesn't matter what company you're with. It doesn't matter what your upline is. It doesn't matter any of that stuff. If you can at least acknowledge the power of choice that you get to choose right now to find a solution, or you can choose to continue to blame circumstances outside of yourselves. This is your choice. But if you are sick of being the victim, you are sick of choosing to constantly let somebody else disempower you, and you're ready to step into that choice that God has given you, this very well might be the solution that you've been praying for. Okay. So each week for 4 weeks, you have videos and workbooks that are going to give you the exact steps that you need to be magnetic, to be able to be successful without the hustle, to allow clients to be coming to you, because we incorporate things like heart-brain coherence and magnetism in the quantum space and biopsychology and just lots of cool things that I know work that don't necessarily people miss it. And it's the reason why they end up hustling for the sake of hustling and not getting any traction, right? So we're going to be working on the clarity piece. So how do you get really, really clear so that you can nail your message down really, really well? How do you be confident so that you know that when you're standing in front of somebody or sitting in front of somebody or having a conversation DMs, that you are coming across in a way that the other person's like, oh my gosh, like it doesn't even matter what you say. I want to do what you're doing. Like that confidence piece is what we're going to dial in on week 2. Week 3 is all about consistency. So how can you create a tailored plan for you that you can actually stick with, that you can allow yourself to move the needle to get the sales that are going to lead to the life that you want? And then week 4 is all about duplication. It's creating the system so that when you lead your team, you're not going to get sucked into the burnout. You're not going to get sucked into the discouragement when other people don't want it and you see them giving up on their dreams. Like there's so many things that as a leader we have to take on that really weigh on us. And so I'm going to give you the exact duplication that you can use to get yourself to a place and your team to a place that feels really, really good and impactful. And this is going to be a very limited time program. So like I said, it's a 30-day reset. It starts September 24th. And if this is something that you are interested in, go ahead and go into the link in the show notes and get yourself into the application process. All right. So that we can get you as part of this program and get you where you want to go faster with more ease and flow and joy. And I just can't wait to see you inside. All right. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out. And if you are a network marketer, reach out to me. Let me know what company you're in. How long have you been in? What has been the biggest win for you? Like, what do you love? And what are you like, this is like the thing that it's really hard for me, because I would love to hear that too. I love to continue to create things that are going to serve people. And it's always fun to hear from you. So all right, I hope that this helped, and I can't wait to see you guys inside of my 30-day reset. So, all right, until next time, I'll see you then. Bye, everybody. So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity. Identify what's holding you back and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to im-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, log into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.